So that ABC check system that you're describing, this is how airline mechanics make sure that aircraft are safe. And so the big tussle with aircraft is that they run almost all the time. They're very rarely idle because every minute that an aircraft is idle is a lot of lost money for the airline. So you don't want to bring them out of the sky and put them in the hangar and check them for too long if you don't have to, but also it's obviously catastrophic when something goes wrong. So you're balancing these two constraints and requirements. So what do you do? Well, what you do is you have a series of different checks that are run at different points in time. The A checks happen constantly, where you're constantly monitoring and making sure that some small things are working as they should. Technicians come or engineers come onto the plane at the end of every flight, before every flight, make sure that some of these minor issues are working. Some of them are very important, but they can be checked quickly. Then the B check is a slightly more intensive check, and that happens a little bit less often. And that's to check some more major things that require a little bit more downtime, perhaps a few hours of downtime. Then there are C and D checks that are much more comprehensive. C checks happen perhaps every year, and D checks perhaps every several years. And that requires taking the plane out of service for a period of months, almost unbuilding it and rebuilding it to make sure everything's working. Now, if you did that all the time, the plane would never run, but it has to be done at least sometimes. And so you have these different levels of checking in and testing that in some are supposed to mean that you're balancing the requirement that this thing keeps operating and you get use from it, but it's also safe. Now that's true for a relationship too. So that idea that the A checks are the date nights once a week, the B checks are the quarterly weekends away, the C and the D checks are celebrating big anniversaries, going away for a week, maybe just the two of you once a year. And that's exactly what we do. Actually, we're having our 10-year wedding anniversary this year. And we're going away to Europe for a week. We're recruiting the grandparents to help out. Yeah, and so that's exactly right. I mean, that for us is essentially a D check. We haven't taken a vacation like that in a very long time. And so I think those are very important to schedule in.